doing my HOTAS setup and dual joystick setup that I use for Elite Dangerous. Of course, you can use this for any other game that supports joysticks. But in front of us, we have the CH Products fighter stick and the throttle. And I'm also going to be reviewing the Thrustmaster T16000m. So I'm going to start with the CH Products. For anyone who's out in the market for a new set of joysticks or HOTAS, this is going to be for you. Now, the fighter stick was $120 American. The throttle was $97, and I also own the pedals, which are under the desk, but I'm not going to be filming those today. Those were $115. So altogether in total, you're looking at about a little bit over $330 if you want to get the whole set. But the good thing about CH Products is that they're one of the few companies that don't force you to buy them all together. You can buy them separately. A lot of other manufacturers of joysticks that make a HOTAS set require you to buy them bundled together for a higher price. But if you just want the joystick, or if you're just looking to get a good throttle, you can buy these separately. So that's a plus. Now, I should tell you that the main reason why I went with CH Products over any other fancier or flashier looking joysticks, because these are quite simple looking. As you can see, it's just plastic on the outside. No metal casings or any other flashy materials. But the reason why I went with CH Products is because of the quality, basically. CH Products is actually a company that manufactures industrial joysticks that they use in flight, military simulation, medical instruments, military robots, electric wheelchairs, mining machines. So coming from that line of work, you can expect absolute quality in these products. And although the outside is plastic, as I mentioned, it is tough plastic. This is like high quality plastic. You could probably drop this and nothing happened to it. Although I don't recommend you doing that on purpose, obviously. But the insides are high precision metal parts. You can see a little bit the inside of the mini joystick here. The metal, it's kind of hard to angle the camera while looking at it. Get a good angle with the camera, I should say. But these are all components, internal components that the same components that they use in their industrial applications. So I fully trust those to be of the utmost quality. So that's the reason why I went with CH Products. Now, the fighter stick here has 24 buttons, including 3 traditional push buttons, one there, one on the side, and one on the bottom, as well as the trigger. It also has 3 4-way hat switches, one here, another here, and one on the side of the joystick, and a 8-way POV hat switch, which is right here. The throttle has another 24 buttons, including 3 4-way hat switches, one here, and one on the back. 3 push buttons on the back of the throttle itself, and an 8-way POV hat switch. And the piece de resistance for the joystick, for the throttle, I should say, the mini joystick right here. And this is just what it sounds like. This is a fully functional joystick, just like this one, but on the throttle. So this is incredibly useful. This mini joystick here is amazing, and it's the reason over anything else why I would even consider purchasing this if I had to do so over and over again, because this thing is amazing, and I will be showing you a little bit later what I have that set up for. But besides all the buttons that are on the joystick itself and that you can map in game, the CH products also come with a CH Control Manager software, which allows you to program macros and mapping for different modes. And you can switch modes on each of these controllers here by using the side button here. This is actually the mode switch, and you can see the little indicator light here, switching between the modes. And using the CH Control Manager software, you can set up each one of these modes for different configurations for each button. The throttle also has the mode switch here, the indicator, and to switch modes you would actually push the mini joystick in, and that switches modes. So actually in total, if you use the Control Manager software, you get a total of 240 different functions with the fighter stick and the throttle combined. So you are definitely not going to be running out of buttons to map or to bind for any game imaginable. You have more than enough options here to set up every single binding that you will ever need on these controls. And these are very, very comfortable to play with. I can rest my hand naturally on these. They just kind of just sit there when I'm not in use. And every button on here is very well thought out for the placement, and I can reach any button in moments notice. So there's no awkward reaching or hand positioning required to reach any of the buttons, which is great. So that is the basic overview for the CH products. Now what I'm going to do is jump into Elite Dangerous, and I'm going to show you what I have my bindings set for each button, and show a little bit of gameplay using the joysticks or the HOTAS. So let's go to that. Okay, so here we have the CH products, fighter stick and throttle, and this is my bindings for the HOTAS setup. So obviously the throttle is set to the throttle. Pitch up and down, and roll is left and right. Yaw I have set up to my pedals under the desk. But initially, when I actually did not have the pedals, I had only bought these and I didn't have the pedals yet. I had actually had the yaw set to one of the hat switches here, so left and right would control the yaw. But so if you are not into having pedals, you can bind the yaw to any of the hat switches or any other button, but it is a lot easier using the pedals. To navigate the menus, I have this the 8-way point of view hat switch here set to left to go into the targets menu, right into the system menu, up will target focus on the sensors, and down just to UI focus. For lateral movement, the thrusters, I use the mini joystick here on the side of the throttle, which is amazing for this function. It is so easy to maneuver around with this, only using here the mini joystick up, down, left, right. But currently that is my setup. I am going to go to this conflict zone and do a little bit of fighting. Alright, and so this in front of us is the Thrustmaster T16000m. And this cost me a very affordable $50, so much cheaper than the CH products. And this was the perfect choice for a second joystick for a dual joystick setup because 1, the price was attractive, 2, this controller is actually ambidextrous. You can remove these parts right here on the side of the controller, this, and you can actually switch them, as well as the base right here at the bottom rotates. So this can be used either as a left-handed or right-handed joystick. I currently have it set up as a left-handed because I use the fighter stick as my right-handed because this one is right-handed only. Now the name of this joystick, the 16000m, is actually a reference to the technology used in this controller, which is 16,000 points of reference, or 16,000 values in each axis of movement. You can also kind of see it as the resolution of this controller, although I don't know if that's the right terminology. But basically, it's supposed to make this controller a lot more accurate than others. Now, I don't know how many points of reference or how large the resolution is for the average joystick, but 16,000 does sound like a lot. So there's that to consider. Now, this joystick has a lot less buttons than the CH. It has a total of 16, of which only 4 are on the joystick itself, and the other 12 are on the base of the joystick. So we have the 3 buttons on the front of the joystick here, and a trigger on the back, as well as an 8-way POV hat switch on the front. And as you've probably noticed, there's also this green LED that lights here at the bottom. Whenever you provide input, whenever you move or press a button on the joystick, that lights up. Now the buttons themselves on the front here actually seem a little bit loose. As you can see, they kind of wiggle. So they're not completely set in there, but they also don't feel like they're about to fall off or anything. So I don't fear that. One other reason that the T16000m was a perfect match for a dual joystick setup is because it does have a twist on the joystick, so that can be either set up for roll or yaw. I use it for yaw personally. So coupled with the being ambidextrous and being able to have an extra axis of movement, it makes it the perfect joystick for me for a dual joystick setup. I also almost forgot to mention that there is a MIDI throttle here on the base of the joystick, so there is a way for you to control the speed if you don't have pedals. So with that, that is the basic overview for the T16000m. What I'm going to do now is jump into Star Citizen. So what I'm going to do now is jump into Elite Dangerous and show you my bindings that I have set up for a dual joystick setup, as well as do a little bit of gameplay and show you how it plays. Alright, so here we are in Elite Dangerous. Let me show you what I have my dual joystick set up for. On the left joystick here, I have this set up for the lateral thrusters. So up, down, left, right. The yaw I have set up for the twist. On the fighter stick, I have pitch for up and down, and roll for left and right. To access the menus, I use the 8-way hat switch here on the Thrustmaster. To go left is for the targets panel, right is for the system panel, up targets the sensors, and down is for UI focus. Once I'm in the menus, these buttons right here navigate the tabs, and right here this 4-way hat switch navigates the menus up and down, left and right. To select, either trigger works. And on the fighter stick here is basically the exact same as my setup for the HOTAS. So if you've seen that, is basically exactly the same. The only difference is now that instead of this button being secondary fire, the trigger here is secondary fire. So with that being said, let's look for some targets to smoke here, shall we? Oh, and for the throttle, I do have the pedals under the desk set up for that. You can see, oh, we have my co-pilot here is trying to get on the action. Watch out, Alice. I think, okay. Say hi to Alice, everyone, and goodbye, Alice. Okay, so as I was saying, the throttle, I have the pedals under my desk, but I do also set up the mini throttle here to be able to use it just whenever I want to use that instead. So, let's see here. Who is wanted? You are not a wanted target. But we have a battle over here. Let's go over there. We go a Python. We have 31k on his head. That'll do just nicely. Go. Let's see who else is around here. Okay, so I also want to compare here the movement of both of these joysticks, because this is something else for you to consider. You're going to see the difference here between the T16000 and the CH Fighter Stick in how much easier the CH Fighter Stick is to move. This requires almost no effort at all. Right now I'm just using my pinky and I'm barely having to push against it, and it moves effortlessly. Sorry. Now the T16000, it's not hard to move, but it does require a lot more force. Of course, you can't tell how much force I'm using, but just believe me, I'm exerting a lot more force on this in order to be able to get it to move at all. When you pull this back and let it go, you can see how the CH Fighter Stick kind of bounces back and forth a little bit, whereas the T16000, it kind of just immediately settles at the center again. So you can see there's a very significant difference in the stiffness and the amount of force required to move each. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to have any problem in performing any maneuvers because of this. It's just something to consider. Personal preference probably plays a part into it most of anything. To me, it's neutral. I don't mind it either way, but this just feels a lot easier to handle. Now, in terms of which setup I prefer, I gotta say that I do really enjoy using the dual joysticks. It's just a lot of fun. It just feels right. It just feels like what a spaceship is supposed to handle like. Having two joysticks just gives you a really nice freedom of movement. And it does feel a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to fire both of your weapons using two joysticks at the same time. And the yaw, by using the twist joystick, is a lot easier to control the yaw by using this instead of the pedals. So there is that in favor of the T16000. Although the throttle here does the exact same job than this joystick here can, but I would say that it does it slightly better, because this mini joystick here basically does the exact same job as this full joystick here, in addition to the throttle having a lot more buttons. So we have 24 buttons on the throttle versus 16 on this joystick, and the throttle also have the freedom of movement of having this joystick here. So if I had to choose, if I had to recommend either a HOTAS or a dual joystick setup, I would have to go with the HOTAS with the throttle and the fighter stick or another joystick, just because of the practicality and the usefulness of this throttle right here. Having this joystick, this mini joystick here, is just a game changer. I don't know of any other throttles that have a mini joystick like this, so the functionality is just surpasses anything else that you can throw up against it. If anyone knows of another throttle that has a mini joystick like this, please let me know. I'd be really interested in checking it out. But if I had to recommend any setup for someone who's out there to purchase a controller setup for the first time, I would highly recommend the CH products. So the pros and cons of each of this, in conclusion, we have that the CH products are very high quality, they're comfortable, and there are lots and lots of buttons and configuration options. The cons are that these are a lot pricier than some other options out there in the market. For the T16000, we have the pros of this being ambidextrous, really fun dual joystick setup, has a twist joystick, and it is affordable. The cons for the 16000 is that it is a little bit lighter than I would have liked, and it does not have very many buttons at all. And it is also a little bit more difficult to control the throttle. But so that is my review of the CH products and the Thrustmaster 16000. Like this video if you enjoyed or if it was helpful to you in any way. I really appreciate any comments and feedback that I get. I want to thank you very much for watching, and this is Synaptic signing out. I will talk to you later. Hello guys, Synaptic here, and today I am reviewing my HOTAS setup and dual joystick setup that I use for Elite Dangerous. Of course, you can use this for any other game that supports joysticks, but in front of us we have the CH Products fighter stick and the throttle, and I'm also going to be reviewing the Thrustmaster T16000m. So I'm going to start with the CH Products. For anyone who's out in the market for a new set of joysticks or HOTAS, this is going to be for you. Now, the fighter stick was $120 American. The throttle was $97. And I also own the pedals, which are under the desk, but I'm not going to be filming those today. Those were $115. So altogether in total, you're looking at about a little bit over $330 if you want to get the whole set. But the good thing about CH Products is that they're one of the few companies that don't force you to buy them all together. You can buy them separately. A lot of other manufacturers of joysticks that make a HOTAS set require you to buy them bundled together for a higher price. But if you just want the joystick, or if you're just looking to get a good throttle, you can buy these separately. So that's a plus. Now, I should tell you that the main reason why I went with CH Products over any other fancier or flashier looking joysticks, because these are quite simple looking. As you can see, it's just plastic on the outside, no metal casings or any other flashy materials. But the reason why I went with CH Products is because of the quality. Basically, CH Products is actually a company that manufactures industrial joysticks that they use in flight, military simulation, medical instruments, military robots, electric wheelchairs, mining machines. So coming from that line of work, you can expect absolute quality in these products. And although the outside is plastic, as I mentioned, it is tough plastic. This is like high quality plastic. You could probably drop this and nothing happened to it. Although I don't recommend you doing that on purpose, obviously. But the insides are